It was a beautiful morning in the heart of the jungle. The golden sunlight danced on the river, the air was fresh, and every leaf shimmered with dew. Beside the calm blue water, a little duck named Duckie waddled happily with her 3 tiny ducklings. They were fluffy, yellow, and full of life, splashing, chirping, and chasing each other in the shallow water. Duckie laughed softly. "Stay close, my babies," she said lovingly. Her nest was nearby, a small, cozy home made of dry grass and reeds, her safe little world beside the shining river. That morning, Mowgli came running down the riverbank, barefoot and smiling as always. "Duckie, look at them," he laughed, pointing at the ducklings. "They're learning so fast." Duckie smiled. "Yes, Mowgli, they love the water just like their mama." Every day, the jungle boy and the little duck family spent time together, playing by the river, sharing fruits, and laughing under the trees. It was pure peace. But that peace didn't last for long. By afternoon, the sky began to change. The wind turned colder, stronger. The birds flew back to their nests. The light faded too quickly. Zorak, the black panther, appeared from the shadows. His golden eyes looked worried. "Mowgli," he said softly, "the clouds are gathering. The river will rise tonight." Mowgli turned toward the river, and his smile disappeared. Dark clouds were rolling fast, swallowing the sun. He whispered, "Duckie." Within minutes, the first drops of rain began to fall. Soft at first, then heavy, then furious. The jungle trembled. Thunder cracked across the sky. Lightning flashed. Duckie was still by the water with her ducklings. The calm river had turned wild and brown, swirling with waves. She tried to lead her babies back to the nest, but the wind pushed her back. "Come here, my little ones," she cried. She spread her wings wide, pulling her ducklings close beneath them, shielding them from the cold rain. But the water kept rising. The nest was gone, swept away by the flood. The trees bent, the air screamed, and Duckie stood trembling, her feathers soaked, her heart pounding. Still, she didn't move. She covered her ducklings tighter. She whispered through the rain, "Don't be scared, Mama's here." Then, through the chaos, she heard a familiar voice. "Duckie." Mowgli was running through the storm, hair soaked, mud splashing beneath his feet. He slipped, fell, but got up again, eyes locked on the tiny duck huddled by the raging water. When he reached her, he saw the fear in her eyes. "Duckie, we have to go now. I can't leave them," she cried. "They'll drown without me." Mowgli grabbed a huge banana leaf from the ground, folded it into a small raft, and shouted over the thunder, "Then we'll take them with us." He gently lifted the 3 ducklings, placing them inside the leaf raft. Duckie fluttered beside them, still trembling but trusting him completely. The river crashed against his legs, pulling hard, but Mowgli held on tight. He tied a vine around his waist and to a nearby tree for support. "Zorak," he called. From the shadows, Zorak leaped forward, grabbed the other end of the vine with his teeth, and pulled with all his might. "Hold on," Mowgli shouted. "We're almost there." Wave after wave hit him, rain poured like never before, but he kept pushing every step a fight against the storm. Duckie cried out, her feathers drenched, but Mowgli didn't stop. And finally, with one last pull, they reached the safety of the riverbank. They collapsed under a huge tree, gasping, shaking, drenched. Zorak stood nearby, his golden eyes glowing through the rain. "You fought the storm," he said quietly. "And you won." Mowgli smiled weakly, turning toward Duckie. "Your babies are safe." Duckie looked at her ducklings, tiny, trembling, but alive. She pressed them close, her wings wrapping them like a blanket. Outside, the storm still raged, thunder roaring, lightning flashing, but under that giant tree, there was peace. There was hope. Mowgli sat beside Duckie all night, singing softly through the rain, the same lullaby Duckie used to sing by the river. "Sleep, little ones, tomorrow will be bright and kind." And when the sun finally rose the next morning, the jungle was shining again. Golden light touched every wet leaf, and the air smelled fresh and new. The river had calmed, clear and peaceful once more. Duckie stepped out from the shelter, her ducklings following. They looked around, their home was gone, but their hearts were full. Then a tiny sound. Crack, crack. Duckie looked down and gasped. Her last unhatched egg was moving. And right before Mowgli's eyes, a tiny duckling broke free, blinking up at the morning light. Tears filled Duckie's eyes. She hugged her babies tight. "We survived," she whispered. "We really did." Mowgli laughed with pure joy. "See, Duckie, even after the storm, love finds a way." Zorak nodded, gazing at the glowing sunrise. "Because courage," he said, "is louder than thunder." That day, the whole jungle came alive again, brighter, happier, full of songs. Mowgli watched as Duckie and her ducklings waddled back to the river, splashing, chirping, laughing again. The water sparkled around them like gold. And when Duckie looked back at Mowgli, the sun hit her wings just right, turning them into silver and gold. She flapped them once, twice, and then lifted off, flying over the shining river with her babies right behind her. The sky was blue again. The world was calm again. And the boy smiled softly, whispering, "Even the darkest storm can't stop love from flying."